right, this is the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, continuing our Monday Night Wars review series. This is going to be round 18, January 1st, 1996. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank, and Happy New Year to everybody, and let's get into this. This is not a Monday Night War. This is a Monday Night Onslaught.
Pretty much.
This is a one-sided fight here. This is Drago in the early rounds with Rocky.
No, it's more like Apollo Creed.
Oh, Lord, yeah, exactly. And Vince has nobody to blame for himself. I mean, when you start airing old matches from your pay-per-view a couple of weeks ago, that's pretty much throwing in the towel that week, saying you don't have a show to put on. Yeah. And I don't understand that, because you have the Rumble coming up. You're announcing, the new superstars every week. You've got a huge match with Brett and The Undertaker, not to mention the Diesel storyline, and then, of course, the whole Shawn Michaels thing. And yet we're going to go back and we're going to show you a hog pen match.
And then we're like, next week we'll show you the Bret Hart.
It's like Vince is not even trying against Eric
I don't know
at this point.
I don't know what they're thinking, but
and we haven't even gone through the card yet, so you pretty much know where I'm going with this as far as the vote goes for this. But let's get into it. Let's kick it off with Monday Nitro. This was right after Starrcade. They were in Atlanta, Georgia for the new year, and of course Eric was really, really laying it on thick with the stick with us, don't go over there, blah blah blah. Now, and of course Raw was doing this. Monday Night Raw was Raw Bowl. So let's start with Monday Nitro. Opening match of the card, it was the Macho Man Randy Savage against Arn Anderson. He blames Arn Anderson for losing the WCW title to Nature Boy Ric Flair at Starrcade.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Mr. Brass Knucks in the tights. But it's gonna happen.
It makes no sense. Flair wins the title. Well, besides that, Flair wins the title in controversial fashion, right?
Yes.
Why is there not an instant rematch on Nitro? Why does Hogan automatically? Hogan just got suspended. So how is he the number one contender when they just suspended him?
Suspended, a.k.a. they signed him for all the dates and they couldn't use him for 1995.
They had to wait for the next year to roll over.
Exactly. So why not? Let's start off the year by giving the brother a title shot. Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
Macho actually got a rematch right after that.
Exactly. Macho should have been facing Ric Flair this evening and not Arn Anderson. But in any way, he's going to face Arn Anderson. And Savage ran to the ring to start the match. He was a house of fire against Arn Anderson. During the match, Anderson hit his DDT on Savage, but Savage got his foot on the rope. Savage had pushed Anderson into the referee. This is where it really got interesting. Anderson had pulled out the brass knucks once again from his tights, dropped it. Savage got a hold of it, used it on Arn Anderson before the referee came to, and he pinned Arn Anderson, and Savage gets revenge against Arn Anderson, but he still doesn't have his title.
Right.
The placeholder has lost his belt here, and we've said this in the previous weeks. That's what I felt, and I know you did.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Savage was just a placeholder for Ric Flair to get the belt. So I don't understand that. He didn't even have a long enough run, and he just got screwed out of the belt with no rematch as of right now. In the foreseeable future, he will get it, but unfortunately, right now he did not. So, and of course, after the match, Chris Benoit and Brian Pillman came down, but Savage had left. These two guys are causing an awful lot of mischief lately between the Dungeon of Doom and eventually between each other. But I still love Pillman and the Four Horsemen. I just know that he's not going to last. And
I know.
Pretty much 1 foot out the door.
Yeah.
Coming. It's unfortunate. So next match on the card. Well, let's go over to the Raw Bowl, because they actually only had 2 matches on their card this evening. This was the longest one. The Raw Bowl match for the tag team titles, the Smoking Guns defending the titles against Razor Ramon and Savio Vega, Owen Hart and Yokozuna, Psycho Sid and the 1-2-3 Kid.
Yes.
And the ridiculous thing about this is that each team is granted a timeout. Wow.
Yeah, then you could tag. How did the tag?
You could tag whoever you wanted, but you had to make contact with your opponent.
Right.
So it was funny when Owen Hart and Yokozuna got tagged in together, and they actually did go at it briefly.
Right, yeah.
And then, they tag in the Smoking Guns. As far as the eliminate, let's even do this before the match even started. As Razor and Savio were coming to the ring, Goldust, his usher, gave Razor the flowers.
Then Razor threw him a beating.
Yes.
Poor guy, man. He's just doing his job.
And then, of course, Goldust is sitting there off to the side. Razor didn't even see him. And I've said this, he's still doing the feud with the 1-2-3 kid, yet you're putting him into a program at the Royal Rumble with Goldust. Didn't make any sense to me. But it is what it is.
I didn't mind doing like a new gimmick. I just thought that it was, I don't know. They didn't really quite pull it off. It felt a little cartoony with the timeouts, and they were wearing like jerseys and stuff, and they
had the football yardage in the ring.
Yeah, I felt like it was a little gimmick. It was a little too cartoony. Like,
not to mention Lawler and McMahon constantly with the football analogies. Oh man! And the timeout thing really bothered me because it was actually going to affect the first elimination.
Savio tried to call timeout, right? And it was.
Yep. And as Razor was going for the Razor's Edge, Kid called the timeout, and DiBiase's on the apron. He has distracted Razor Ramon. This gave Psycho Sid a chance to close. Razor.
DiBiase was already out of the ring. Why is the referee still looking at DiBiase? I understand it's wrestling. I get it. I just find little stuff like that annoying because I'm like, pay attention.
We know it's preempted. We know that the outcome's already been determined, but make it a little bit like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Make it make sense.
Don't make it out. Don't make it obvious. Because we've seen that many times where a referee will look the other way, knowing that something's going to happen.
So what happened? Razor got pinned, right? Razor got pinned, and then...
Yep, Sid clothesline from behind. Savio tried calling timeout, but that didn't work. And so the 1-2-3 kid pinned Razor Ramon, and Razor and Savio won. Why they were getting a tag team title shot, I have no idea. But they did. Next up, Owen Hart was eliminated by Billy Gunn. This was actually funny. As Yoko was going for the bonsai drop on Billy Gunn, Bart pulled him out of the way. Now, Owen was holding Billy Gunn. He kind of fell. Yoko bonsais Owen Hart, and Billy gets the pin on Owen. So now Owen and Yoko are gone.
It was funny how it looked like the Guns were going to go after it. They were going to have to fight each other first. And then they basically just teamed up, and that's how Owen and Yoko ended up in that situation.
That fight's coming soon, but just not right now. So, and then, of course, and this didn't make any sense to me, Psycho Sid gets eliminated by Billy Gunn. Excuse me, a pin. The ref distracted by Bart. Sid was holding Billy. Kid was going to go off the top rope. Now, as the referee's distracted, Razor came down, pushed 1-2-3 Kid onto Psycho Sid, which in Kid then Billy then was able to cover Sid, get the 3 count, and the Smoking Guns retained the tag team titles. So, this whole thing, they tried to execute something new, but it just came off, unfortunately, a little too cheesy.
Yeah.
Or like you said, a little cartoony. Yeah. But the Smoking Guns did keep the tag titles. And following that, Doc Hendricks had announced that it would be Bret Hart versus The Undertaker at the Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship, as well as Ahmed Johnson versus Jeff Jarrett at the Rumble.
Oh, Lord.
Jarrett's been pulled out of the
broke 6,000 guitars, never drew a dime. When Jeff Jarrett came out, you could hear a rat piss on cotton.
And we've got several people wondering when you're going to face him.
No, that's not happening.
Dream match to come.
No, Jarrett would kick my ass, man.
No, I got you. Plus, they also showed, and this didn't make any sense, the hog pen match from In Your House between Henry Godwinn and Hunter Hearst Helmsley, with Hillbilly Jim as a special guest referee. And this is not the only time they'll do this. The following week, they're going to do the same thing by showing the Bret Hart British Bulldog match.
Listen, man, we reviewed that match, so I fast-forwarded it. I was like, I'm not watching this again. I did not watch this match again because I'm like, we already reviewed it. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I watched the Bulldog Brett match again.
Well, that was a good match.
Yes, it was. Very good match. I just didn't. I don't understand why they're showing it as a repeat on Raw.
They're trying. I guess maybe they're trying to bump a rating. I don't know. It doesn't even make sense because Bulldog and Brett are not feuding. Like, it would have made more sense if they were having a rematch. It would have made more sense for them to air that match so everybody could see what happened the first time. If you didn't see it. But they're not fighting each other, so I think it's just everyone's dying to tune. People are dying to see the Henry Godwinn match if they missed it. So
I wasn't. Honestly, I didn't want to see it the first time. I thought it was ridiculous.
Not
I thought, it's Vince McMahon with his
obsession
use the
over
word
with
again,
men with overalls.
cartoonish.
Overalls.
Exactly. And you have to have a guy in a garbage truck. You have to have a farmer. You got to have, I mean, come on. We're starting to get to that
Santa
era
Claus.
where, oh Jesus, goodbye. In any event, let's jump back over where the big boys play. Next match on the card is actually two heels here. It's Lord Steven Regal and Chris Benoit, but a very, very good match.
Mm-hmm.
Because Regal and Benoit will bring out the best of you with their wrestling capabilities. And of course, during the match, they showed Hank Aaron sitting ringside because in Atlanta, Georgia. Good to see Hammer and Hank there. During the match, Benoit went for the flying headbutt, but Regal got out of the way. That had to hurt Benoit. Also, missed a slingshot over the top rope, and this is where I believe Benoit really got hurt because Regal brought Benoit back in the ring and just pinned him. 1, 2, 3. Regal gets the victory over Benoit. So, and then of course, following the match, Mean Gene Okerlund interviewing Brian Pillman, who gave Chris Benoit a tongue lashing because now he said the Horsemen are 0-2 tonight.
Pillman was going off, and Pillman was talking about, he just didn't care, and
he turned to Anderson too.
Right,
and
right,
I thought
right,
Anderson was going to DDT him.
It looked like because Pillman was trying to like call the shots, and then Arn was telling him like you're getting
Ric Flair, Bubba.
Arn was telling him like you're getting us involved in like battles that we don't need.
We don't need to be in.
Right.
The whole Orndorff thing. Now you're picking a fight with the Dungeon. I mean, we're dealing with Hogan, Savage, and all this stuff. I mean, we got enough on our plate here.
Yeah.
And he said, bottom line, our job is to protect the world title, who's now is Nature Boy Ric Flair. So Pillman is just starting fires that they cannot put out. And of course, Sullivan came down with the Zodiac and the Giant as Jimmy Hart tried holding them back.
Yeah, like not now, or something like.
It's going to get weirder, trust me, in the weeks to come as this feud starts mounting between the Horsemen and the Dungeon of Doom. So, our next match on the card, let's just stick with Monday Nitro. It was Lex Luger and Sting versus the Super Assassins.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jesus. AKA Powers of Pain. Why didn't they just come out as the Powers of Pain? I don't understand it. They were there one time before as the Powers of Pain.
Right, in the NWA, right?
Yeah. And Barbarian, who's is an active wrestler on the roster, is masked as somebody else at this moment. I didn't understand that either. You could tell, the Warlord under the mask, Barbarian. You can kind of see
should have just been the Powers of Pain.
Exactly. I don't understand why it wasn't.
I don't know.
But during the match, and here comes Craig Pittman again. This is getting
what was that about? He's like asking Mongol.
Of all people, he's asking Mongo McMichael to guide him in his wrestling career. Never wrestled, never managed. And Mongo's like, I got a pretty sweet deal up here, my man. I'm like, what are they doing with this guy? Oh man, I don't know. But in any event, Luger put Barbarian in the torture rack while Sting put Warlord in the Scorpion Deathlock, and they both got the submission. So Lex Luger and Sting are on quite a bit of a winning streak here as they're forming a nice formidable tag team between the two.
Still don't know what the hell's going on though with the.
No, but I do remember that in the following week, Sting is going to address Starrcade to Lex Luger in regards to their triangle match. And then, and their bond is going to get stronger as they go towards the tag team titles.
Right. Eventually, he ditches Jimmy, right? I forget when he ditches Jimmy Hart.
Eventually, he is going to ditch him. And right now, he's playing the heel, but when it's with Sting, he's the good guy. It's
interesting. I don't mind.
Little chaotic, but it's for now. They got everybody's attention.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, following that, Mean Gene had interviewed Jimmy Hart and the Giant. Once again, the Dungeon of Doom hour. Usually Kevin Sullivan, now it's the Giant. So let's go back over to Monday Night Raw because I almost forgot they had a show. So the next match on the card, or their so-called main event, was Diesel versus King Mabel. And if they were trying to bury Mabel, finally, they did it here.
We didn't.
8-second match.
We didn't want to see it the first time. Why would we want to see it again?
Well, this solidified Mabel as just now being a bum.
8 seconds.
Unfortunately, yeah. As soon as the bell rang, Diesel attacked Mabel, gave him a big boot, and got the pin. Diesel wins the match. After the match, Diesel powerbombed Mo. Lawler wanted to go in the ring and interview him. Yeah, he kept. She's not getting Mabel up. Yeah. If he does, you better get the boys to steroid test him. I mean, he might be able to if Mabel
he got the giant into it. He got the giant up. I mean, granted,
the giant jumped into it. I mean, you could tell.
Mabel,
you see his legs.
Mabel couldn't have jumped into it. Well,
possibly.
The second time he dropped the giant on his head, though.
Yeah, that wasn't good. But Lawler wanted to interview Diesel, but Diesel left with Miss Raw Bowl.
Yeah, but first he extended his hand like he was going to shake it, and then he did the thing with the hair, and then he just took the arm and walked out of it.
He's still the fan favorite.
Yeah, he's still.
But the heel turn is coming. It comes slightly each week. And then, of course, in the back, the Brooklyn Brawler, and this is really, really dumb, gave the Smoking Guns the Lombardi trophy with his face on a cheap, cheesy trophy. Then they beat him down along with Ahmed, Savio, Marty Jannetty. They're all beating the Brooklyn Brawler down, the poor guy. So, and then to close out Monday Nitro, they announced the Royal Rumble participants, including Dory Funk Jr., and, of course, they showed the video package for Vader. And then this is where they started. I love this. I did love these segments. The Billionaire Ted's Wrestling War Room with the Huckster and the Nacho Man. And, of course, next week, Scheme Gene's coming into it.
Yeah.
I really did love these segments.
No, it was funny. I thought it was funny. I mean, did you catch Vince Russo? He was there. He was one of the guys in the boardroom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just, I understood why they did it, but at the same time, like, come on, man. Hogan and Macho Man are legends, and Hogan especially helped build that company into what it became. But I understand they're at war, so it's
at my age, brother. My feet don't leave the ground. It's funny. What can you do?
It's funny because then they bring him back when he's even older, like 10 years later. But
exactly. And of course, remember WrestleMania 12, the free for all match. They had the Huckster and the Nacho Man in a match with funny. The Walker and everything. Oh my god!
They also were mentioning on the show how Shawn Michaels is having a press conference next week, and Lawler saying he's going to announce his retirement or whatever. It's just so funny how they had the Tell Me a Lie video, right?
Yeah.
Like basically they made it seem like it was a funeral. Right?
Yeah, seriously.
And then 2 weeks later, oh yeah, I'm back. I'm going to be wrestling in the Royal
against doctor's orders. I am entering my name along with the many names in the Royal Rumble, and I will be at WrestleMania to face the WWF champion. At this point, man, you knew that was coming. But in any event, back over to Monday Nitro, where the main event of the evening for the WCW Championship, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. 24 hours removed from winning the title, defending it against Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Again. Why, and we said this, why is he getting the title shot?
I don't know.
And not Randy Savage? I have no idea. Anybody but Hogan. Because the fans, and you could hear
the whole thing was that
they were still starting to boo him again.
Yeah, the whole thing was that Macho Man agreed to give him a title shot as long as he was able to get through what he had to get through. So how he gets a title shot with Flair is beyond me. I don't understand.
Unless a contract was signed for right after Starrcade.
But I'm saying that it never. It's whatever. Anyway,
it was supposed to be Savage and Hogan, but it's not. Hogan gets yet another title shot, and of course, during the match, Flair applied the figure 4 on Hogan, but Hogan reversed it on him naturally. Jimmy Hart had come down. He was in Ric Flair's corner here. Hogan, of course, hits the boot and the leg drop, but before he could get the pin on Flair, Jimmy Hart got on the apron and Hogan grabbed him. Arn Anderson came down and hit Hogan with a foreign object. Hogan wins by disqualification, so Ric Flair's still the champion. Now, this is going to be the first of 2 straight weeks Hogan's going to do this. When Arn Anderson hit him with the foreign object, Hogan no-sold it.
He no-sold it, yeah.
Just like in the following week, he's going to no-sell something again.
No, not only that. He had all the horsemen on their knees. Like, they were all scared of him.
I did not. I hated that.
I'm like,
why are 4 men?
How are you, right, but how are you doing the horsemen any sort of favors in building them as a legitimate threat as a heel faction when they're all scared to death
of one guy that they can all easily beat down.
Right.
I don't know. That's the only thing I did not like about this was they're all begging for their life. And then, of course, the Giant came down with a stool, tried to hit Hogan, but Savage stopped him.
I don't know why Savage is still saving this guy.
I don't know. Let him get his butt kicked.
Yeah.
Sullivan and Zodiac holding Giant back again for whatever reason. I don't know. And, of course, Mean Gene interviewing Hogan and Savage afterwards. And this is where they've made the challenge to Ric Flair and Arn Anderson for next week on Nitro to face him in a tag team match.
Then Hogan said something about that being his belt.
Yeah. Again. But it's not. But this is the only thing the man cares about.
Yeah.
He will step on his own mother to get that world title. I'm sorry.
I don't know, man.
A guy that's supposed to be a fan favorite is really coming off as not at this point. Like, he's jealous. I've seen this streak in him for years. I mean, we saw it in 1992. Oh, you eliminated me? No, that can't happen. I'm gonna eliminate you too.
I don't know. Either way, it was entertaining though. Forget about what we think about.
Yeah, I know.
Hogan. It was entertaining. I thought it was a fun show.
Bischoff's pulling out all the stops each week. He's got the top guys on it. He's defending his title. Since the Monday Night War started, we barely see the WWE champion coming out. You're fresh off of your pay-per-view in your house, and you're not, the champion's not, nobody's coming out to start the next batch. We're just finding out, Brett's going to face The Undertaker, but we're not doing anything that's leading up to it with either man.
Yeah,
put them in a tag team match where they have to get along, or I know all of that's going to come later on in the Attitude Era, but I mean, as of right now, he's just really not doing anything to combat him. And
it's like they almost don't care. It's like they almost don't care about going head to head. You could tell Bischoff cares about going head to head.
Oh, he's obsessed with it.
They seem. I think at that point they didn't realize. I mean, I'm guessing. I think at this point he doesn't really even see them as a real threat. So I think Vince is not even really bothered, and it's not until later on that he realizes, oh shit, we got a problem now.
Probably once the Hall and Nash showed up.
Even before that probably, but like around that time.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it's a legitimate threat. Now, on actual ratings, Monday Night Raw did win this night, 2.6 to 2.5.
How the hell did that happen?
So on actual ratings, it's Nitro 8, Raw 6, and 2 no decisions. They're 8, 6, and 2.
Wow, with Hogan and Flair as the main event.
Yeah. Now,
it's not even close for us.
Monday Nitro.
We don't have to talk. I think everyone knows why.
Yeah, we've pretty much covered that. We don't have to break it down again.
Yeah.
So for me, it's 12-4 Nitro, and for you, it's 13-3.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
So I mean, this is, and I'm going to just tell you this right now as a spoiler for next week. I don't think Monday Night Raw is winning next week either.
We'll see. I haven't watched it yet though, but you're probably right.
I think I am.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while, I think, before Raw gets a legitimate victory. If they stop showing old pay-per-view matches from a few weeks ago,
you gotta have the champions there doing stuff too. They've got
exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're going to replay a match, that's telling me that you don't have a roster or a card for tonight.
Yeah.
So you just we'll just show them an old video and be done with it.
All right. Well, that's our review. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.